Walvis Bay is running out of quarantine facilities.
Order, order, please sit down. These were the words uttered by the Speaker of the National Assembly, Peter Tatchell VV, when chaos broke out involving the ruling party and opposition party members. The Landless People's Movement LPM at a press conference accused Tatchell VV of being incompetent and failing to address the near-to-close brawl between NEAF and SWAPO members.
He wants to use the whip. Now the Witwe whip is coming for Tatchell VV badly. It's coming soon, because he will be deserted by SWAPO on the basis of old age and incompetence and ruling and contradictions, and he will lose serious cases in court if he doesn't stop this. But I see the whip of Witwe catching Tatchell VV from behind very badly, and I will be there that day to look at his tears, because it will be tears that he will not be able to stop if he thinks we are playing.
The Landless People's Movement leader Bernardo Swartboy said that Peter Tatchell VV did not act against the SWAPO and NEAF members that were about to brawl in the August House, and only focused on members of the LPM.
Ugly words were uttered against Ipumbu from NEAF by a SWAPO female colleague.
Exactly.
And a brawl erupted. The question we are now asking to Peter Tatchell VV is, when we spoke verbally in Parliament about a provocation, you said you are warning us orally. What are you going to do now, Mr. Tatchell VV, about your colleague that started a physical fight in Parliament? What are you going to do about it, Peter Tatchell VV?
Swartboy added that the Speaker of the National Assembly never addresses the unacceptable conduct from the ruling party and only chooses to focus on opposition parties.
How does Tatchell VV, with what I perceive to be two whole functional ears, 2 ears, he has 2 ears, hears whatever rough language is said by those on the left? But the same Tatchell VV doesn't hear anything said loudly by those on the right. Nothing. He never knows anything. Yesterday, in fact, in law, his ruling against us, his warning is actually invalid ab initio. When in court, 3 accused stand, you pass judgment on 2 and you are silent on the other one. It's a miscarriage, and it's void ab initio. You would say it's a mistrial in ordinary legal language of court. When he was warning us, I said, just raise the issue of Emil, of Mareka there. Because, of course, I was not in a hurry to go to Parliament. I had other things to do. I knew that his oral warning is nothing. It's invalid. It doesn't exist in law. You can go and ask lawyers. It doesn't exist. So he warned us, the media took it, but in law, there's nothing. There's no warning in law. Is ab initio. From its birth, it was aborted. It doesn't exist. That is the incompetence of Tatchell VV.
Today on One received the minutes of the proceedings of the National Assembly, in which the Speaker, Peter Tatchell VV, considered the actions of the parliamentarian members as totally out of order and uncalled for.
Last year, critics and audiences fell in love with the Big C.
So what next?
I, for one, am prepared to be wowed.
Oh, you be wowed. I'll be drunk. Come on. My name's Kathy, and I will see you now.
It is not okay for you to kiss my wife.
I don't want to feel better. I want to be better.
The Minister of Home Affairs, Immigration, Safety and Security, Frans Kapofi, lashed out at staff members from the 3 departments for corruptly destroying police evidence, creating false documents such as illegitimate marriage certificates, and for smuggling contraband through the prisons. Although he didn't call them out by name, Minister Kapofi said he is aware of the corrupt and lazy staff members from the 3 departments within his ministry. He spoke out against those who help create false passports, marriage certificates, and those who corruptly get rid of police evidence by destroying dockets, as well as help inmates smuggle mobile devices, cocaine and mandrax into prison.
Some of these marriage officers are those that are officiating fake marriages. If you are a police officer, but you are colluding with fugitives, what are you telling us? You are a correctional officer, but you are the one who are colluding with offenders, sentenced offenders, to smuggle cocaine, cannabis, cell phones in cells. We have police officers with dockets. They get paid and they destroy the evidence. We have investigators who are not finishing the white coat. Because investigation is not complete. I don't know, Inspector General. That is very good.
Taking note of the minister's statement, Inspector General Sebastian Deitunga spoke to his staff about introspection and what it means. He also reminded his staff that it's their job to serve the Namibian people and not themselves.
The minister has spoken to us. The minister has highlighted challenges, shortcomings, performances. I want to add to say, we as managers, we direct, we command, we lead, and we want the outcome that is positive. But if you want a positive outcome, a higher productivity, you should ensure that you capacitate those that are under you. Show them the way, the formula, how to reach to an outcome that's desired by the organization and by the country.
Minister Kapofi told the senior managers of Home Affairs, Immigration, Safety and Security how important it is to move in unison and what they could accomplish if they set aside personal matters and focus on the goal of the ministry.
Make sure you catch It's a Wrap in our new time slot. Now on Sundays from 7:30 with repeats on Tuesday nights at 8:30.
The Namibia National Students Organization, NANSO, recently held a General Council meeting in the Kunene region where it deliberated on challenges facing basic and higher education in light of COVID-19. At the press conference, the organization stated that it supports the reopening of schools, even more so that schools have received much needed support from the government. During recent visits to schools across the country, the NANSO leadership says that they've noticed significant transformation that took place during the past few months of COVID-19.
On Friday, we're in Korihas with the Minister of Education as well as the Director of the National Planning, Mr. Obed Kanjole, to inspect the state of the schools and its readiness to open. And what we implore the ministry is actually that the good thing that came out of the COVID-19 towards the schools is that schools are getting renovated. Schools are getting potable water, schools are getting functional ablution facilities, schools are getting more hostel blocks, more classrooms are being constructed so that the issue of social distancing can be observed. So these are some of the good things that actually have come. And the ministry is actually, during this time, looking at the allocations they've given to the regions. Never in the past 5 years has been the budget allocations, and actually the work has actually already started. If you visit the schools, either the schools they are being, the taps are being repaired, the water bills are settled, and the water is up and running. To most schools, obviously there still exist those challenges, but I think the leadership at the ministry really they are trying their level best with competing priorities as well as the economic downturn that we find ourselves in.
Tapopi also said that he still has faith in the Ministry of Education, Arts and Culture and their handling of the situation at hand. This comes despite the Ministry of Education asking parents to decide whether or not to send their kids to school.
I think those parents who still have those fears can really choose to keep their kids at home. But I think what is important is for us to ensure that such a process does not perpetuate inequality, and there must be a process that if I decide to keep my child at home, there must be a process that ensures that the child is not left out, either through that they can come to schools and collect assessments and worksheets, as it has been happening in some of the schools, so that the learning still continues and that no learner is left behind. But I think what we as NANSO has decided and resolved also as General Students' Council is that the virus is here. We must learn to live with it, and life must continue in any way or another, because we do not know when we are able to contain the situation.
Some schools have asked parents to pay school fees. NANSO says that this is not a fair request, as some of the grades have still not resumed face-to-face lessons since March. Reporting for Today on One, I'm Joseph Shifeni.
We've been drifting, lost at sea. You're so far.
Bring the family together with great specials. Like Cross and Blackwell Tangy Mayonnaise for only $22.99. And Spa pressed and squeezed fruit juice for only $28.99.
I'll be your lighthouse and bring you back to me.
We're here for you.
The Namibia Defence Force in Walfish Bay is taking matters into their own hands by setting up a mobile hospital to assist with the flare in COVID-19 cases in the town. The hospital will have 18 beds with 2 for ICU and 5 for emergency care practitioners. The Namibian Defence Force arrived in the town this week to set up a mobile hospital and are planning to complete the facility by Friday this week. NDF Colonel Festus Zakaria said that the mobile hospital will serve as a quarantine center and alleviate pressure from other health facilities that are overwhelmed by the inflow of COVID-19 patients.
We are here as per task by the Chief of Defence Force to erect a mobile field hospital. The aim in all is just to help the people of Varsday to have enough wards where they can keep those people who might be diagnosed with COVID-19. However, mobile field hospital, it has been not known. Some of the people, they become to know it when we have a global pandemic, which was a case definition in China, starting from Wuhan. We are to talk about mobile field hospital, how it is established and the aim. The aim of mobile hospital is a UN standard hospital. We have got level 1 hospital, level 2, which is going to be erected here, and it has comprised of professionals because it was meant for the disaster situations like emergency help for the civilian during this time. But if we are to go in the war, then it will cater for the defense force.
Walfish Bay has become the epicenter of the outbreak, and government suspects that there is community transmission as most cases originate from the coastal town. State Hospital Acting Senior Medical Officer Dr. Martha Ntinda said that if the town stands together against COVID-19, they will defeat the pandemic.
We are very grateful for the gesture. The fact that the Ministry of Defense managed to mobilize their resources to come to our aid, we really appreciate that. Because the reality of the matter is that we need that. We need all the help that we can get in this time of this epidemic. And if we stand together like that, we can win the fight.
There are currently 73 people in isolation at Henties Bay, 36 at the Walfish Bay TB ward, 20 at the Kwisebmoon Clinic, and 17 at garages that were converted into rooms at the Walfish Bay Hospital.
From Cape to Cairo, Accra to Antananarivo, there are millions of people just like you trying to make a living to make money. And there's no magic way to get rich quick, unless you're Aliko Dangote. You're not Aliko Dangote, are you? No? Well, perhaps we can help you get a little further along the way. With BBC reporters all over Africa, we find the stories, the successes, and the startups that will help you make the most of your money. This is Smart Money.
In other leading stories, His Excellency President Hage Geingob has conferred on the late teacher and veteran of the liberation struggle, Mr. Martin Lazarus Shipanga, the honor of National Hero and directed that a state funeral be held in honor in terms of sub-Article 8 of Article 32 of the Namibian Constitution and under the powers vested in the President by sub-Article 3H of that article, read with Section 3.1 of the Conferment of National Honours Act 2012, Act Number 11 of 2012. Following consultations with the wife and family of the late Mr. Martin Lazarus Shipanga, the head of state, Hage Geingob, directed that his remains be interred at the National Heroes Acre in Windhoek on Saturday, the 4th of July. President Geingob has directed that a period of national mourning be observed in honor of the late Shipanga, during which all flags in Namibia will be flown at half-mast with effect from Thursday, the 2nd of July to Saturday, the 4th of July 2020. President Geingob conveys his deepest sympathies to the wife, Mrs. Evelyn Ndapewa Shipanga, the children, the entire family, including comrades and friends. And the Ministry of Environment, Forestry and Tourism, in collaboration with the Giraffe Conservation Foundation, translocated 30 giraffes to 2 communal conservancies and a national park within the month of June in a quest to boost existing populations and increase genetic diversity. The translocation was in response to the request by the Conservancy committees to boost the existing small giraffe populations with additional animals to improve genetic diversity of giraffe in the area and also to increase the local tourism potential, which would greatly benefit the Conservancy and all its members.
Welcome to Comments Corner, your daily dose of local comments from the hottest social media pages. Youth from the southern town of Luderitz stood to the center of the town last week to express their concerns on what they described as the collapse of the once thriving fishing industry. They also fear that the retrenchments taking place at Walfish Bay could soon hit their town, which is already facing high unemployment among the youth. Chantago said the Fish Road accused suspects should be held accountable for this. Victoria said that they can use the money for a good cause. Ruth said some companies such as Novanam Fishing Company subsidiary Lalandi should return to the town. Lloyd was left with no words. As COVID-19 cases continue to increase at an alarming rate in the country, 52 new positive cases were confirmed yesterday. Jose said that he understands that jobs and the economy has to be saved, but local transmission signals the seriousness of the health issue. Lapazzi said it is not the time to return to stage 1, but businesses can continue with the regulations in place. And that is all from Comments Corner. Be sure to post your comments on our social media pages for broadcast every day only on Today and One.
Share with us on #LearnOnOne. Tell us what you're learning and where you're learning it from. Send us your name and town to the One Africa TV's WhatsApp on 081 200 6659 or send an SMS to 555. One Africa TV. It just gets better. Love to hear from you. Send us your views, comments and videos with your name and town to the One Africa TV's WhatsApp on 081 200 6659 or send an SMS to 555. One Africa TV. It just gets better. A look at the weather forecast. The Namibia interior is sunny and mild to warm, but hot in the far north. It will be windy over the interior. The coast sunny and warm to hot with sandstorms at times, and the wind moderate to fresh northeasterly to southeasterly. Now we look at minimum and maximum temperatures across the country and beyond.
I'm back with the second best. Oscoro tanti mana memi not tiram the second best. Second chance. Oflow yini taken day. Shija tuma kom kimi tashi nyengenje. Meme. I'm on someone and didn't best go chama no ke yulu no pe manda chekanje. I'm big like that. I'm 22 now. Hey level up to change meme chuna. This is a level up. I to change it. Oh my kende. Level high, or volume up maximum. Then get 5 if you see me on the block. Testify, woke up it getting tight, so I'm feeling nice. Competition on my belly, who no never have fun, never come up on my belly. I'm sweet like a penniless, a flow really painless. Devs them up a bit, then the track will be famous. Dala, ito duro.
BBC World News, the biggest African and international news stories. Focus on Africa.
This is Focus on Africa. I'm Lukwasa Burak. The top stories. The funeral is held for the Ethiopian singer Hachalu Hundessa as unrest following his death spreads throughout the country. Hundreds of elephants are found dead in Botswana, but authorities are at a loss as to why. Nearly a month after a statue of a slave trader is torn down in Bristol during the Black Lives Matters protests, we speak to the city's Somali diaspora about whether attitudes have changed. From the physical to the digital, we find out how South Africa's creative industries are staying in work under coronavirus restrictions.